What's up guys, Scott here from Icon Vehicle Dynamics, and we're coming at you in the shop with an all-new 2025 Toyota 4Runner TRD Sport. And this is the first one we've gotten our hands on, and it's going to be the first guinea pig to go under the knife to test out all of our new suspension systems, as well as all the new wheel line for the new platform. And so we've been working on this for a while, worked with SEMA Garage, and kind of been working in the background, developing all the new parts, as well as taking what we learned with the new Tacoma and the new Land Cruiser to really put that knowledge into the new platform for the 4Runner. The 6th gen, out of the box, very capable, but as you can see, doesn't look as cool as we all know it will, and is not going to be as capable as it would be with all of our suspension products on it. All in all, Icon's got a whole bunch coming for the new 6th gen 4Runner, and we're excited to show you. All right, so truck's up on the lift. We started pulling stuff off, and part of the R&D process is to cycle the suspension. What's that mean? Well, basically we want to fully compress, fully extend, and find where there's more travel to be had. So right now we still have most of the stock components in here. We've pulled the factory coil spring off, factory coilover, and she is up at full bump. And the reason for this is because these coilovers integrate a shaft bump instead of a frame bump stop. This is what ultimately determines the final bump location. So we're playing with that, see where we can squeeze more travel out of the front end, and we're going to do the same thing for the rear, both vertical wheel travel and under articulation. Not only does this allow us to figure out where more travel can be found, but it lets us know how big of a shock can we actually fit in there. 2.5s are pretty easy, but can we fit something bigger? We'll find out, so stay tuned. So one of the fun things about a new platform is really trying out what's possible. Like, sure, we know that this is similar to a Tacoma, similar to a Land Cruiser, but it's neither one of them. It's a 4Runner. You're gonna have different body weights, slight different nuances in the way that this stuff all bolts up. And it really lets us go through and engineer a vehicle-specific system. And so we're not just repurposing parts from one application to the other. And you'll notice that all of our SKUs for all those applications, for the most part, are different. And there's little nuances that really bring out the best in the vehicle when you get it right. The devil's in the details, and suspension especially. All right, so we've made some progress up front. As you can see, we have our billet aluminum upper control arms installed. And what's harder to see up underneath is the front differential drop. That's also bolted on. And with these components installed, we can now cycle the suspension fully with all the Icon components to see what our maximum travel is going to work out to be. This ensures that everything's protected, not going to overextend anything, and allow us to dial in that shock length to get the most performance out of the vehicle. Okay, so in the back, what you can see are our billet aluminum lower links. They're currently bolted on the truck. We're going to try a bunch of different combinations of this and really test out what the rear end capabilities are. And we get asked all the time, like, what are these for? They look cool, obviously, and we offer a couple different versions similar to the front upper control arms, a tubular version and a billet version. Both versions are going to give you essentially the same results, different cosmetics, different features as far as the adjustment goes. But the primary benefit of a link, lower link or upper link or otherwise in the rear is to help improve articulation. As far as the adjustment goes, this allows you to tune the rear pinion angle of the truck. Basically, when you're lifting it, the axle moves down and the pinion angle from the drive shaft going into the differential can change, and that can have negative drawbacks depending on how severe that angle difference is. And so sometimes being able to adjust your links to straighten that angle back out, bring it back to more like factory, makes everything work a lot better. So the links can be adjusted while they're bolted on. Super easy. Very similar method as the front. Loosen a couple of pinch bolts. Moving on to the further back, we don't have it on here yet, but we have an adjustable track bar just about to go on the truck. And this guy's gonna further improve the articulation for the same reasons as the links, just allowing the track bar to get out of its own way and let the suspension do its thing. But it also is adjustable in length to recenter the axle. Similar concept when you lift the truck, your axle is now going to slide out of position ever so slightly. And so having a longer track bar, which is relative to the height of the lift, allows you to recenter that back into place and keep the truck handling like you would expect it to. Okay, so we're in business now. Coilovers are in. Front is cycled, some ride tuning has been done, and we've learned a lot about the truck. So far, kind of the biggest takeaway is that while this is similar to a Land Cruiser 250 series on the front end, similar to the GX, similar to the Tacoma, all these new platforms are very similar. they're all very different up front. So this is closest to a Land Cruiser, but it differs in the fact that it has a shaft bump stop on the coilover rather than a frame bump stop like you find on the Land Cruiser. So we will have a completely unique set of SKUs for the 4Runner platform with all your usual offerings from the shock options, from internal reservoir 2.5 coilovers, remote reservoirs like you see here, all the way up to remote reservoirs with CDE valve and the all-new CDXS. So a lot coming here. The kits can be configured in a lot of different options. And so for this particular vehicle, we settled on a 2.5-inch remote reservoir coilover in the front, set up at about 2.5 inches of lift, our adjustable billet aluminum upper control arm, as well as our front differential drop. And this combination of the parts is allowing for the maximum wheel travel that we can get out of the truck in this particular trim. And what this all means is it's gonna ride great, look awesome, and perform incredible when you get into the bumpy stuff. So, all that being said, let's go take a look at the back. Okay, so in the rear of the truck, it's a lot simpler of a suspension platform than the front end, but no less attention to detail on our part. We've test fit a bunch of different parts in all the different locations, upper links, lower links, track bar, shock absorbers, springs, trying to find the best combination of what works best. And there are many similarities in the rear of this with the Land Cruiser and the other trucks, so some of the parts carry over. For example, the billet lower links here, carrying over from our currently released LC250 kit. Shock absorbers and springs, however, are going to differ. And we're coming down to differences in ride tuning and the feel of it there. Because after all, the trucks are different. While similar chassis, different weights, all that sort of thing. And so we've been experimenting with different spring rates. And what we've settled on for this particular truck is a triple rate coil netting about a 1/2 inch rear lift. Currently, and what she's leaving with are 2.5 remote reservoirs, no adjusters on either the front or rear here, so they match, and we get a good baseline of how the truck feels without that added benefit of an adjustable shock. So we want to really dial it in on a non-adjustable version and then basically tune the adjusters to match. So that's a quick rundown of what we did on the front and the rear end. So let's get the tires bolted on, get it down on the ground, and show you what it looks like. And here we are, the very first 6th Gen 4Runner with an Icon vehicle dynamic suspension system. What we've done on this truck are adjustable billet aluminum upper control arms in the front, remote reservoir 2.5-inch coilovers, our front differential drop, and in the rear we're running 1/2 inch lift rear coil springs, triple rate coil springs, 2.5 inch diameter remote reservoir rear shocks, along with our adjustable billet aluminum lower links. As far as where this falls in the stage range, probably somewhere in the middle, but there's a whole lot of performance here and a whole lot more room to grow with more components as they're needed. This truck is set up with about 2.5 inches of lift up front and about a 1/2 inch of lift in the back for a nice level stance. There's still lots of height adjustments still available in the front, but we wanted to set it up a little bit lower to make sure we had all that droop travel available. The owner of this truck hasn't decided on what wheel and tire package they're gonna run yet, so it's gonna leave here with the stock wheels and tires. All right, all that's left now to do is for the owner to come on by, pick it up, tell us what he thinks, and drive it on home. So for more new 4Runner stuff, and we got a lot more coming, make sure you follow us along, subscribe below, and check out iconvehicledynamics.com. We'll see y'all next time.